Good morning, Deer Park Roofing. This morning's Toolbox segment, we're going to discuss respiratory protection and the needs here at Deer Park Roofing. Sometimes roofing workers may need to wear respiratory protection to keep them from breathing air contaminants such as solvents, coal tar pitch, and dust. Also, when you are soldering, based on the SDS sheets that we have recently discovered, you may be required to wear some type of respiratory protection to protect yourself from lead fumes. Your company must consider the following requirements before allowing workers to wear respirators. Workers must be physically capable of wearing a respirator. So when you don a respirator, it naturally creates a claustrophobic situation, and a lot of people who aren't used to respirators have a hard time with that because they're breathing really heavily and they're claustrophobic. It takes a little while to get used to wearing a respirator. Certainly you wouldn't be required to wear a full face respirator, but a half face respirator would make more sense. A written respiratory protection program must be implemented, and air samples occasionally must be taken to ensure the respirator is effective. So respirator wear or respirator use is all based on an assessment to permissible exposure limits. If you fall below OSHA's PELs, which are permissible exposure limits, you're not required to wear a respirator. If you're at or above the PELs, then you shall wear a respirator. You should wear a respirator. A worker wearing a respirator must be cleanly shaven so that the respirator can seal to his face. You can get by with a goatee, but before we issue respirators, we do what's called a fit test with irritant smoke, and that will let you know whether your respirator is going to seal or it's not going to seal. If a worker needs corrective lenses, special adapters and lenses, these must be purchased. This is not purchased by the employer. An area must be supplied for workers to maintain and clean their respirators. So a respirator, whether it's a full face or a half face respirator, cannot just be tossed in the back of a truck or a toolbox. You have to protect it. These are typically the protective pouches that we get for the respirators. They slide right in them and they stay somewhat clean. There are two types of respirators. There's actually three types of respirators. One is a self-contained breathing apparatus. It has air on your back. This is what the fire department uses. There are air purifying, which is this guy here. Basically, you are purifying the air through these cartridges. And then there is the dust mask, a particulate respirator. OSHA does consider a respirator.